everybody, so today we're gonna read a storybook called The Ugly Duckling. Once upon a time there was a mother duck who laid a clutch of 6 beautiful little eggs. One day she looked into her nest in amazement. They were her 6 small eggs, but lying next to them was another egg that was much bigger than the others. That's odd, she thought, and went back to sitting on the nest. Soon, one by one, the smaller eggs hatched, and out came 6 pretty yellow ducklings. Yet the bigger egg still had not hatched. The mother duck sat on the large egg for another day and another night until eventually the egg cracked and out tumbled a 7th duckling. But this one was very different. He was big with scruffy gray feathers and large brown feet. "You do look different from my other chicks," exclaimed the mother duck, "but never mind. I'm sure you have got a heart of gold." And she cuddled all the ducklings. Sure enough, he was very sweet-natured and played nicely with the other ducklings. One day their mother duck led her ducklings down to the river to learn to swim. One by one they jumped into the water and splashed about. But when the big gray duckling leaped into the water, he swam beautifully. He could swim faster than any of his brothers or sisters. The other ducklings were jealous and began to resent him. "You're a big, ugly duckling," they hissed at him. "You don't belong here." And when their mother wasn't looking, they chased him away. The ugly duckling felt very sad as he waddled away across the fields. "I know I'm not fluffy and golden like my brothers and sisters," he said to himself. "I may have scruffy gray feathers and big brown feet, but I'm just as good as they are, and I'm better at swimming." He sat down under a bush and started to cry. That night the ugly duckling flew over the farmyard fence. He flew till he landed on the other side of the lake. There he met 2 grown-up ducks. "Can I please stay here for a while?" said the ugly duckling. "I have nowhere else to be." What do we care?" said one of the ducks. "Just don't get in our way." Woof woof! Suddenly a big hungry dog came tearing by, chasing the 2 ducks. They quickly flew up in the air, and their feathers fell down on the ground. The poor ugly duckling froze in fear. The dog sniffed and sniffed at the ugly duckling, then turned away. "I am too ugly even for the big hungry dog to want," said the ugly duckling with his head hung low. The sky turned dark. Crack! A bolt of lightning. Then came a big storm with heavy rains pouring down from the sky. In just moments the ugly duckling was soaked through and through. Then a cold wind started to blow. "Shh," he said with both wings held close to his chest. "If only there was a place I could get dry." All at once a tiny light blinked far off in the woods. Could it be someone's hut? He flew to the door. "Quack!" said the ugly duckling. The door of the hut creaked open. "What is all this noise?" said an old woman, looking right and left. Her eyes were not that good. Then she looked down. Ah, look at that, it's a duck. She picked up the ugly duckling and dropped him inside her hut. You can stay here, but only if you lay eggs, she said. A tomcat then crept up to the ugly duckling. Who do you think you are, coming in here and taking up room by the fire? Said the tomcat. I do not need anyone else in this hut laying eggs. Do not worry about that, said the ugly duckling. I am a boy duck. Then why are you still here? Said the tomcat. Did you not hear what the old woman said? Get out of here, pretender, clucked the hen. Get out, hissed the tomcat. The door was still a bit open, so our poor ugly duckling slipped out the door and back into the storm. No one ever wants me, said the ugly duckling with a tear in his eye. The storm ended. Soon he found a new lake. Looking into the water, the ugly duckling saw the reflection of a flock of large white birds flying. He looked overhead and could not believe what he saw. There above him were the most beautiful birds he had ever seen. Their long white bodies and slender necks seemed to just glide through the sky. He watched until the very last bird had winged its way out of view. He stayed at that lake all by himself, and time passed. The leaves of the trees turned deep red and gold, and then the leaves fell to the ground. Winter came, setting a blanket of white snow all over. The cold wind and the dark clouds made the ugly duckling feel even more sad. He had to go into the cold, cold lake to fish, but it was getting harder to swim. The lake was turning to ice. One day, it was all he could do was paddle the water to keep it from freezing around him and trapping him in the lake. I am so tired, he said, paddling with all his might. The ice got thicker and drew closer to him. In a moment, two giant hands swept him up. You poor thing, said a farmer. He held the ugly duckling close to his thick wool jacket and took the bird to his home. Never was a warm fireplace more welcome. For the rest of the winter the farmer cared for the ugly duckling. Then spring came. Tips of green covered the trees. Short, bright flowers popped up from the ground. It is time for you to go to the lake to swim again, as you were born to do, said the farmer. He took the duckling back to the lake where he had found him and set him with care on the water. Gosh, I feel strong, said the young bird, flapping his wings. Why, I never felt as strong as I do right now. He heard quiet splashing sounds behind him and turned around. A flock of those same beautiful birds he had seen in the sky before landed behind him on the water. Do not worry, he said to them, holding out one wing. I will go now. I will not make trouble for you. A big fat tear rolled down his cheek. He turned to go away. When he opened his eyes, he saw a reflection in the water, one of those beautiful white birds. Why was it so close to him? He jumped back, and the reflection jumped back too. this?" he said. He stretched his neck, and the reflection of the beautiful bird stretched its neck too. "Why are you going so soon?" said one of those beautiful birds. "Stay here with us," said another. "We will be great friends." Then the bird who used to be the ugly duckling knew what had happened. He was no longer an ugly gray bird that wobbled when it walked. At one moment all the swans flapped their wings and took off into the sky. "Come with us," one called back. "Take the lead." So he flapped his wings fast and took his place in front of the whole flock. All his new friends flapped their wings behind him. "Say," he said, gliding and dipping through the sky as he sped on, "who's an ugly duckling now? Surely not me." The moral of the ugly duckling story is, don't judge people differently simply because they look different. Accept people for their qualities, their values, and their friendship. Do not judge others because of how they look. Thank you. Bye.